What's up, everybody? Welcome to Homertown Hockey, presented by Slapstick Clothing. For the record, since for some reason people keep saying this, I'm not Phil Bittner, just someone who's sick of him being criticized by people who know nothing about podcasting. As usual, I'm joined by not Colton Gogger.
I'm not sadness and I'm not pain.
And not Trenton Fuller.
If your doppelganger was a chick, would you?
Dude, you remember when I did
Would
that
I?
face swap and I was smoking?
Yeah. Like if you
No.
were a, if your doppelganger was in female form, would you try to go after it?
No, because I already don't get laid, so I feel really bad for my doppelganger who'd be a female.
Oh
That's
man,
upsetting but fair.
when everyone was doing those face swaps, I did one and I was a smoke show. So, yes.
So yeah, I had a pretty good one.
I mean, you're a smoke show now. What would be any different?
I was a rocket, not man rocket. Big difference, boys.
Oh, boys.
So
boys.
cool.
Well,
Let's start out. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the Packers.
I don't want to. No, that sucked. That legitimately, that was brutal. I
Yeah.
don't know anything else to say other than that was brutal. I kind of almost wish they had been blown out because that flat out sucked. That's the worst I've felt in a long time.
What was
Like
the...
at least with the Wild and Twins, I can see it coming, but that one hurt.
Yeah.
That one really hurt.
Yeah, that
But
was... If it helps, it hurt me too.
That touchdown to end the first half was a real killer.
Oh, that was brutal.
I'm so
Yeah.
sad that Antonio Brown's gonna be in a fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. I just can't stand that an actual frat boy named Gronkowski is going to be in another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean, not yet, but Travis Kelce might be again. And he's almost worse than Gronkowski now.
Travis Kelce's a bitch, dude, but don't tell him I said that.
Yeah.
Trust me,
I'll make-
I'll hear it.
next time I see Travis Kelce, I'll let him know.
Yep.
Yo, Phil was talking mad shit.
Yeah,
Tell
my
him
dude.
not. Tell him not. Phil said something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm not Phil Bittner, remember? We could probably get
Yeah,
into
yeah.
that now.
I'll be like this dude I know. No, I'm like this dude I know who's definitely not named Phil Bittner talked mad shit about you.
I'll
I
talk
thought his
shit to
name was
him on my
Marcus.
burner account. We don't give the burner account name out, Trent. I don't think you
Yeah.
under...
What are you? What
I didn't
are
say
you,
the
Tony
last name.
D'Angelo? What are you, Tony D'Angelo?
Let's get into Tony D'Angelo.
Hold on. No, I am not, and I am not that burning.
You're not a
Put that evil on me.
hey, you're not a fucking Nazi.
I don't know,
No,
man.
I am not.
I am almost to the point of being convinced that it's someone that wants people to think that it's Tony D'Angelo's burner.
Did you see the one tweet where the dude was like, "Hey guys, I just got off the phone with Tony D'Angelo's lawyer. I owe him 50 meatball subs and 10 breadsticks."
Oh no.
So let's get into it. Basically, a Twitter account appeared magically, NYR fan. I think there's some numbers.
With the Rangers symbol as the Twitter picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And their only tweets are tweets in defense of Tony D'Angelo. It's definitely not him though, because they said they're not Tony D'Angelo, so
Yeah.
On the internet, it's real.
yeah.
And didn't somebody actually like trace the IP and it happened to be in Philly
No.
or
What-
in Pennsylvania?
No.
Yeah, it was in Pittsburgh.
Oh, did they? I
Yeah,
thought what
somebody
happened
traced
is
it.
that they hit the source code thing and it was actually nothing. It just looked like they knew what they were doing, and then that got him to bite on it. Much like Matt Barzal did to him.
The
Everyone's
one
good hockey there, Phil.
I'm not saying like I'm not being like, well, I saw a tweet, but the one tweet I saw about it was somebody responding to the NYR fan Twitter was like, "Yo, Tony, we know it's you," and it was a picture of like all the source code, and the area was Pittsburgh where they were playing.
Oh,
And it
okay.
was
I didn't
started
actually
January
look at it.
2021.
Yeah, and then the account had been started in January of 2021.
Oh man, this guy, he's really something else. And again,
Yeah.
like I keep seeing people saying like if he wasn't conservative or something, or it's like, oh man, NBA players largely not conservative demographically. They all get ripped on when they get caught having burner accounts too. If you make a burner account to go online and defend yourself to strangers as a well-known person, I don't care what your political beliefs are, you're gonna fucking get made fun of.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if you're a giant fucking piece of shit. It certainly doesn't help your case.
No, it does not.
There's nothing to talk about this. It's not a story. It's just fucking hilarious. Fuck Tony D'Angelo. Colt, what do you got for us next?
Well, there's two ways we can go. We can talk about COVID, or we can talk about the weirdest trade maybe in NHL history.
Let's talk about COVID. Everyone's been dying to talk about COVID. It doesn't get enough airtime.
Yeah. So the Capitals had a COVID outbreak because Evgeny Kuznetsov, Dmitry Orlov, Alexander Ovechkin, Ilya Samsonov all hung out in a unapproved area, aka their own hotel room, and I think Samsonov is currently the only one that's tested positive.
Yeah.
Last time I looked. But yeah, they put out a really weak statement, even though teams knew that they weren't going to be able to like hang out together because the NHL is trying to actually do the right thing and put a season together. And the Capitals said, fuck it. And the team was fined $100,000. And Ovechkin's statement sucked. It was kind of like...
It sounded like he was being
sorry
sarcastic.
for hanging with the boys.
Yeah.
It really did. It sounded very Russian.
Yeah.
You guys hear or read his wife's statement?
That was Orlov's
I didn't know
wife,
his
I
wife
believe.
put out a statement.
I think it was Orlov's wife that put out the statement. But yeah, it's bad.
I could have sworn it was Ovechkin's, but I could be wrong. But yeah, she basically just kind of called out everybody and was like, of course the Russians are going to get in trouble. Just pulling that, like, it's not about them being Russian, it's about them not following protocol.
Right. And everyone had the the end of the argument is that these were the rules that were required for governments to allow this season to happen, and that every player was given the option to opt out, and none of them took it, and they didn't follow the rules. Whatever your thoughts are on thinking that the fear around COVID is hyped up or not, I mean, you're a fucking idiot, but it just isn't relevant to this. The beginning and end of the conversation is they all agreed to these rules, and then they didn't follow them. And considering that these rules are needed for a season, it's very fucking selfish.
And in the first week of the season, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's just weak shit to come out and be like, oh, I'm sorry we didn't follow, To essentially be like, my bad. The first week of the season. You knew the rules. You knew the risk going into it. And if you wanted to hang out with your boys and break protocol, fucking opt out of the season.
A wise man once said, everybody knows the rules.
Yeah. So the only person that's more mad about it right now than us is Zdeno Chara.
Why? Because he has to play first pair defense?
With nobody in front of him now.
Yeah. Or behind him.
And Chara looks slow. Like worse than even in the bubble slow.
Yeah. Boy, the Bruins sure were dumb to let him go.
I mean...
Man,
yes
it is
and
too...
no.
Just like
it is too early in the podcast to go on a Bruins rant.
No. Not doing that yet. I think he should have just retired.
Do you guys have any problem with the $100,000 fine?
No, I don't think even
It's
the
too
Capitals have a problem with that fine. Who gives a
No.
shit?
They're lucky it wasn't like a fine plus draft picks. Like they didn't really go after him.
Right. Yeah.
Could it be because it was Ovechkin, and that's why
Fuck.
it's such an easy one?
No, I think it's a hey, here's how much we're gonna fine you, and if you break it multiple times, it's gonna go up. But here, just know this is our baseline, $100,000 for a league that already doesn't have money and teams aren't technically making money because there's no gate revenue this year. Like $100,000 isn't a light fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I do
Who
think
do you
it's
think's
kind of
gonna
fun.
be the next team to be fined?
The Boston Bruins.
Probably. That was what I was gonna say.
Hopefully nobody. Probably
Hopefully
like
nobody. I
Tampa
really
or
do hope-
something. It'll be Florida. One of the Florida teams.
I hope it's the fucking Colorado Avalanche.
No, what I think is funny though is that
I think everybody hopes that.
the Arizona Coyotes got punished more harshly for watching some kids do push-ups when they weren't supposed to than Washington got for risking turning their players into biological weapons on the ice.
Fair.
Russian gas to a new meaning.
I mean, I know I'm downplaying the illegal scouting and maybe hyping up this thing, but ultimately, it seems like this should be a bit of a harsher punishment.
Probably.
We'll get into it later. There's a lot of problems I have with the degrees to which the NHL punishes people and doesn't punish others.
I wish, yeah, we'll get into that later. I think this is, like I said earlier, I think this is a baseline. At some point, you're going to have to throw the book at a team if they do break the protocol. And I think this is more saying, this is our baseline. It'll get worse from here.
That's fucking rough for them to pull off, though, considering that in that case, it's their fucking, star goal scorer of the league that is in the group that gets off easy. It's going to be a tough look.
$100K for the face of your league, that's not exactly getting off light. I mean, that's almost saying nobody's fucking above this.
Yeah, it doesn't even affect
Aren't they also
Ovechkin,
not
though.
allowed to play for 4 games?
Yeah, that's true. It's suspension or because of them having to clear protocol now?
It's because they had somebody test positive now. Because Samsonov tested positive. Now they have to, delay games and shit.
Oh, the whole team is delaying the games?
I don't think they...
If
Yeah,
they
those
did,
players.
If they did, I need to act even faster in dropping Justin Schultz from my fantasy team.
I don't think they play for a couple of days here.
Yeah, I didn't catch... I don't know, man. I just got so sick of reading about it just because of all the ignorance in every comment section about this story that I stopped reading all the follow-up stuff after a while. So I did my job.
Yeah, they don't play again until Tuesday.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. Fuck them. They deserve that.
The other team that's currently in a bit of a COVID shit show is the Hurricanes, and all their games are canceled. Well, technically through today, which is the 23rd. But Jesper Foss got added to the NHL's COVID-19 positive list yesterday.
He got added to protocol. Was he added?
I think
because being in protocol doesn't mean that. Just means that you're concussion protocol. It doesn't necessarily mean you have it because Laine, Roslovic, and Dubois were all also added to COVID protocol.
Okay, then that's my bad. That's my misinterpretation of what the COVID list is for.
It is a little weird, but yeah.
For the Wild, everybody's just Stalock is out indefinitely and he's on the COVID list. So what does that tell you? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so, so.
I mean, I hope he's okay and all, but I can't say I've put much thought into Staylock ever.
Right, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Like dude's out indefinitely. Oh, wonder what's wrong with him. Bang. He's on the COVID list. So
Got the Rona.
but then to stick with this team, Nico Sturm for the Wild was a late scratch 2 nights ago, like an hour before the game, and he was out with an illness, and it's 2 days later, and he's not been put on the COVID-19 list. It's just still listed as an illness.
Food poisoning.
So one thing of note, the Penguins have reached the halfway mark of the first period, and they haven't given up a goal yet. This doesn't always happen for us, so...
I'm proud of Tristan.
Yeah.
Knock on wood there, bud.
Oh, don't worry. I mean, we finished the first period 1-0 against the Rangers on, was it Friday? Friday, and then in the second period gave up 3 goals in 3 minutes and a second. So there's still plenty of time for us to get blown out here. But
oh yeah,
we'll see. Updates as the podcast goes.
Yeah. Phil, do you want to go on your Department of Player Safety rant now?
Yeah, you have the notes in front of you. Why don't you start with a rundown and then end with the one that my rant is kind of based off of?
Okay, well, former Minnesota Wild player, now current Colorado Avalanche player, Greg Patterin was fined $5,000 for a cross-check to Anaheim's Sonny Milano. Vancouver, Elias Pettersson. I'm so dumb. I literally.
You're just reading my notes
man.
word for word.
Yeah, literally went on full Anchorman on it. Elias Pettersson was fined $4,000 for a splash on Sean Monahan. I'm not even gonna pronounce it, but for the Flyers, Nicholas Pavukubel, I don't know either. Was fined $4,500 for roughing Rasmus Dahlin, and then
Tyler Myers, no suspension for fucking knocking Joel Armia out along the boards, blindside, while he's already engaged with 2 other fucking players and a shot to the fucking chin.
All right, you want to get into this one?
They need to fucking fire Peros. He is absolutely dog shit at this fucking job. That right there, one of the most blatant elbows to the face I've ever fucking seen. You know, in the era of that being something that is noteworthy. Like, since this is something they've cracked down on. And because no one's hurt, Jared McCann gets off with just a fine. It's fucking bullshit, but it wasn't the hardest hit and no one was hurt. This is a shoulder to the fucking chin, blindside, on a guy that's engaged with 2 players. And it causes a concussion. And that's nothing. And they even released a video explaining why they didn't suspend him. But all the reasoning was shit that I've seen other people be suspended for.
It wasn't a good look. I watched the video, and like you said, they just straight up explained, like, here's why it was just what it was. And I remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, Dumba had a similar hit for the Wild, and he got he didn't get suspended, but he got a huge fine for it.
Remember in the playoffs, William Carrier getting suspended for hitting Drew Doughty?
I was just going to bring that up.
There was a playoff game. Granted, that one was a little bit more like just the head, but is the onus 100% on the hitter to avoid the head no matter what, or is it not? Make up your fucking mind. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. That whole principal point of contact is a fucking cop-out that they can use either way, whether they choose to suspend or not.
It's like the NFL strike zone now, where if you initiate contact with your head or their head, granted, obviously, I don't think.
I didn't know what you meant by strike zone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like the NHL, you're not going to initiate like contact with your head, but like it's that whole like leave your feet thing. When you're launching into a hit, I don't feel like there's any continuity there.
Who needs to take their phone off of vibrate?
I think that's Trent.
Probably.
Every once in a while, I'm just getting this deafening vibration noise that
I
I'm
know.
pretty sure is showing up on recording.
Oh, it absolutely is.
But yeah, I don't know,
Did you
man.
pause?
I don't have
Did
too
you
much
pause
of a
it?
rant on it that I will subject people to because I've been saying this, but I've just hit the point where I like George Peros as a guy. There's a certain point where this whole get the guys who are familiar with the dirty aspect of the game to be the ones that make those decisions, because theoretically they know what's in those players' heads. But the thing is, I mean, those guys clearly at one point in time thought that that's how the game should be played. I think we've tried this fucking experiment and it's not working. I could be fine with this being ruled as just being incidental and not suspending him if that was what always happened. But by the rules they're using, they could have not suspended Tom Wilson for his hit on Aston Reese even. Because it went through the shoulder and into his head. There is just no consistency. And it's almost like Peros is just using the, like, expecting people to go to carry water for him, saying that, well, obviously he knows because he played. He played fucking dirty. I don't know. I'm starting it now. I'm banging the drum. Fucking fire George Peros. And stop hiring fucking goons to do this job. Fucking, I can't wait for next year when no one wants him and fucking Corey Perry is running player safety. It's ridiculous. The worm. Yeah. Someone else. At this point, I'm just saying more, waiting for someone else to talk.
No, dude.
Fuck George Peros fuck George Peros'
Yep.
regime of player safety.
Yeah, I
Guys,
agreed with Trent. Go ahead.
So you guys see, was it Goodbranson or no Edmondson went after Myers that next game?
Oh
And
yeah.
he roughed him up a bit. That was a good Tilly.
There was a while of Myers being able to hold him off, and he couldn't get the rights. But then Edmondson switched hands, and that left he caught him with at the end looked like it fucking stunned him. Yeah,
Definitely did. He
go ahead.
He was looking for his feet for a minute there. He was trying to find out where his feet's at.
Yeah. Oh, and
Found it
then
funny,
another
there
one,
was
the Stefan Nosen cross-checking Dvorak in the face. For that one, I could live with just a fine, but it should be a fine if Pedersen gets one for that fucking slash to Monahan.
Right.
That it was into the like a padded area of his body. I think what they're saying is that it hit his wrist and slid up, maybe, and especially like with the Flames after what a certain team did to them last year, slashing Johnny Gaudreau on the wrist 57 times until it broke. Colt.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But no, I mean, if it was to the wrist, fine, but I don't understand how you cross-check a guy across the face, right in the face-off circle as soon as the puck drops, and get nothing. Maybe in that it's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Myers, yeah, they gave him the 5 and tossed him after review, just to come back and say it was clean. And the headline from NHL read that it was dubbed legal. Not suspension worthy, but legal. I don't know if they rescinded the penalty, but it's just fucking garbage.
Still stuck.
I don't understand, if we're gonna go rant about player safety commission right now, I don't understand how Corey Perry giving a two-hand spear to Eric Sinek isn't a fine or a suspension either.
Evander Kane speared Jordan Binnington in the nuts this week. That's been a fine in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe they just
Especially
figured with
the
Kane
goalies.
there's no money to take, but...
Well, yeah. But it feels like the NHL has been, like, going off you saying that, as watching the Wild early, there's been some really soft goaltender interference penalties, and I feel like the NHL this year has come out to try to purposely protect goalies a little bit more.
As they probably should, given the grind of this schedule.
right. But I'm like, but the Bennington one is like that's as egregious as it gets. I mean, that was blatant.
I'm gonna be honest though. I think Bennington sold that spear just a little. His nuts hurt exactly until the whistle blew, and then he was just getting in Kane's face. Goalies take fucking shots to the nuts all the time and are fine. I don't think that Evander Kane hit him in the balls harder than slap shots that he's taken there. I mean, I'm sure it didn't feel
Fair.
good, but I'm not standing up for Evander Kane here. I just do think that Bennington sold that, which I don't have a problem with. If you take a shot to the balls, you deserve the call. It's okay to make sure the ref knows it. There's times where I'm okay with selling it a little, and that's one of them. But I do think he sold it a little.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like it's just complete lack of consistency. I don't know if maybe they figured no one was fucking watching an Arizona Coyotes game. But I saw it, Peros. I was watching a week later.
I fucking saw it.
They were right. I wasn't watching, but still.
I watched the highlight.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, fire Peros. What else do we got?
We got Bobby Ryan seen to finding a little bit of a home in Detroit. Look at that guy go.
There was a point when this was
I
still
kinda thought it
hockey
was
hangover that I referred to him as maybe the truest underrated player in the league.
Yeah.
He had a rough point in his career, but he's a very skilled player. The fact that he's playing, isn't he getting like league minimum out there? Yeah. And
Something like that.
He's just on
Dude's
fire.
33. Yeah, dude's 33. He's got 200 and he's coming up on 260 career goals. I mean, for a long time he's been really freaking good. I mean, he's got looking here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 seasons of 30 plus goals. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 6 seasons of 20 plus. You know, and he's been consistent. I see only 1, 2, 3 seasons where he's played less than a full season. I don't know. I think he's been really good, and to see a guy like him get a second chance in Detroit is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it just proves that if you go play in Ottawa, your career goes to shit.
That's not true. Yeah.
No.
Just like
So
I'm
I'm
not
happy for the guy.
sad.
I'm happy he's out of Ottawa. I'm happy he's doing well, like in his own personal life, and it's being portrayed on the ice as well.
Yeah.
He's already got 5 goals in 5 games.
Yeah, he had 5 goals in like his first 4, I believe. Or I think
Sitting at 4 goals and an assist and an assist.
And I think that was in the first 3 games that he got the 4 goals, if I'm not mistaken, because he had 2 1-goal games and a 2-goal game. Yeah, just a hot fucking start on a team that doesn't give him a lot to work with, obviously. And yeah,
Who is proving on a team who is proving just how bad they truly are.
yeah,
Yeah, they lost to the Blackhawks today.
they are who we
Like
thought they
5-2.
were.
I don't want to hear any football references right now.
Yeah.
But no, good for Bobby Ryan.
Yeah, you love to see it.
Let's talk about what's going on in Vancouver. Phil, would you like to say what you always say about the Vancouver Canucks?
The classic saying on this podcast: Vancouver bad, Bo Horvat good. And holy fuck, truer words have never been spoken this season. I was just, for one, again, last week I corrected myself on Vegas. This week I have to correct myself again. I went back and looked at those scores, and the Penguins give up a goal late in the first, down 1-0. I went back and I looked at those scores, and I said that Vegas was struggling to score in that series. They were struggling to score when Demko came in. So, but Demko is not looking good this year.
No.
No
he's
one
not.
on that team is.
To back up your Bo Horvat take, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's got 8 points already this season.
7
He's
games.
a -5. He's
Yeah.
a -5.
Yeah.
Like, yikes.
I think they should have kept Toffoli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
especially the
kidding.
way that 7-3 game. For one, Bo Horvat had 2 goals in the game. Imagine
Mhm.
scoring 2 goals for your team and you fucking lose 7-3 because the guy that you let walk in free agency fucking gets a hat trick. Or no, he had a hat trick one night and then lit them up again the next, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
He had a hat trick in the, because I watched like the third period of
Saturday game.
overtime.
Did he have a hat trick in the Friday game?
No, it was the Thursday night game. I believe he had the hat trick,
Yeah, that's what it was.
and then Friday
Yeah.
was the 7-3 blowout.
Hmm.
Maybe it was Wednesday. Man, my week has bled together. It was a long week. I didn't sleep a lot. I don't remember
No.
what night games were. Yeah, he had a hat trick and they lost in the shootout. I believe he scored more in that 7-3 blowout because there was the great complete hockey news post saying Tyler Toffoli loves playing in Vancouver. If Vancouver ever has a chance to get him, they definitely shouldn't let him walk.
Yeah. Thursday was 7-3, and then yesterday was 5-2.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. Vancouver, the goaltending isn't there. Holtby was in net for that shootout loss, which I mean, it's a shootout,
just
but it
gonna
was like
say-
5-5 going into. It was 4-4 or 5-5 going into overtime.
Hmm.
He,
And
he-
Holtby hasn't looked great this year either.
That's what I'm saying. He gave even that game. They got the overtime point, but he gave up 4 or 5 goals in regulation. The
Mhm.
it it's hard to say with a young team. Like there can be that flash in the pan. And the other thing, it's just because in that series I had picked Winnipeg winning the division and Montreal in dead last. Real quick, do we have anything else about Vancouver? They're just bad. It's
Yeah,
just
hold on.
that Bo
So they're not
Horvat's
showing
working his
their
ass
potential
off.
at all.
Huh?
So they're not showing their potential at all. They need some guys to step up that were what they were last year. I haven't heard anything about Quinn Hughes, nothing on Nate Schmidt, nothing on the back end, and that's where their like kind of stars were because they had the defense to go with it, but
Yeah.
it's just not working.
So on
It
that
is
note,
also still early in the season, so give them a little bit.
can we talk about how nasty Montreal looks right now? Trent, you might want to sit this
Montreal
one
looks-
out. But
Who,
god
me?
damn, no,
Or
Trent. Yeah, the Bruins
Oh.
fans. Come on.
Hey, I can appreciate good hockey, and they're doing good hockey.
That
What a
Romanov
fucking
kid is
electric
sick.
take.
Trenton Fuller. He likes good hockey.
I approve of this message.
Dude, they're at the. Hold on. I was just looking at it, what the Canadians are currently sitting at. And I don't think they have a regulation loss at the moment.
Last I checked, no.
I think they got 2 overtime losses, but that's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
they're 4-0-2 right now. They have a plus 11 goal differential, and they haven't played a game at home yet in Montreal.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, and it's no shock that Petrie's good, but ever since he really, I feel like the bubble was his coming out party. And
How about because Nick Suzuki?
yeah,
Suzuki looks fucking fantastic too.
yeah, they're carrying all that momentum they started up with in the bubble. I almost think some of they have a pretty young team. They've been fast. Like they even last year they weren't winning a lot, but they were tough to play against. I'm sick of that phrase in hockey, but they were fast
No,
and
but
they
it's-
grinded teams down.
It's an accurate thing though. Like, not to change the subject, but I know you guys probably haven't seen them. But the Kings were supposed to be fucking terrible,
Yeah,
and yeah, they only have one win this season. But the Wild had a tough time against them. They beat Colorado.
yeah,
Like, they're a tough team to play against right now.
yeah.
Same thing with the Sharks. The Sharks the other night kind of lit up the Wild. Like, they made it really tough for the Wild. And granted, Wild aren't anything to write home about, but still, like, I don't think those teams are as bad as people seem to think they are. But then, Dadonov in Ottawa, he's making their life in Ottawa a little more tolerable with guys like Stützle.
Yeah, I may have been wrong
And
about them being better than we thought this year, though. I'll say that.
right,
That
but
that
there's
take isn't panning out too well for me yet. But yeah, and the thing is, like, I'm not too shocked to see it out of the Kings and the Sharks, because there is an established, like, you could almost call it California hockey. Those
Erik
teams all play
Karlsson's
that
fucking
way.
bad. Erik Karlsson's fucking bad this year, though.
He's only
That's
playing
the-
on a foot and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, missing half your foot will do that. What do you have, 6, 7 bones removed to get back on the ice faster? And ultimately,
like
it's
that.
going to be the reason he ends up off the ice faster. The way things are shaping up. Second year of that deal. That's fucking brutal.
Like we said earlier, man, would have really helped the Sharks if they had a first-round fucking pick.
Yeah. No, what I was saying with Montreal, they've been tough to play against, but I think that bubble just gave them some confidence. And now I mean, a lot of what they've played was 3 games against Vancouver. So I don't want to jump on them too quick, but they were just fucking steamrolling a team.
Carey Price looks good.
Yeah. And that is always kind of the wild card with that team, is the goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you'll have that when you're paying your goalie $10 million. Ask Florida. But yeah, they're good.
So I just want to know how the fuck Claude Julien is coaching this much of an offensive team.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing with Montreal is you kind of hate to give them credit because a lot of what explains their success is a slew of fucking cliched hockey phrases. You know, there's, as much as I hate that shit, there's a reason those cliches exist. And it's because of teams that come out and play the way Montreal has.
Speaking of cliched hockey anger, the Jets threw an absolute hissy fit the other night after the Mitch Marner empty netter.
That was so fucking stupid. That was one of the dumbest things.
I saw that. What happened?
Marner is coming in to shoot on the empty net, and Neil Pionk comes from the blind side, kind of. And he just tries to truck Marner as he shoots. Marner absorbs the hit and sends Pionk flying as he scores. And for some reason, I mean, you see Marner said something, but like, the Jets lost their fucking shit. Mark Scheifele's in Marner's face trying to go after him. Like, sorry for not fucking letting a guy light me up as I score a goal.
How are you going to be mad at Marner for throwing a physical play? That dude barely plays hard at all.
I mean, it was Pionk.
Yeah.
But it's also Mitch Marner.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 of the smaller guys that you don't expect big hits from. But yeah, I respect Scheifele a lot. I like the Jets, but that was just embarrassing. Your guy
wasn't a good look.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good look at all.
Does anybody know what Mitch Marner's dad had to think about it?
God. He stayed quiet for a while, thankfully.
You think Dubas told him to shut the fuck up?
There's a few ways we could go with this story. Do we want to spring off Winnipeg into the trade, or do we want to spring off Mitch Marner into the Babcock interview in The Athletic?
You guys can talk. I didn't see the Babcock interview, so if you guys want to talk about it,
all right,
or Phil wants to talk about it,
so,
I can comment on it, what I think about it.
Basically, Mike Babcock did an interview with The Athletic, and he kind of showed remorse for his past. When he was asked about Johan Franzen, he said that it hurts to hear. It hurts Mike Babcock what happened. That's fucking ridiculous. And then when he was asked about Mitch Marner, he set the story straight. He says what happened is that he called Marner into his office, asked him to, rank who works the hardest, and then next he had a meeting with Tyler Bozak, and he showed Bozak that list, and then realized it was a mistake, called Marner aside and said, "I'm sorry, I screwed you." And he says that he was wrong to do that. Ultimately, he didn't really say anything that was really atoning for just being a piece of shit coach. If he wants to set the record straight, for one, to really apologize and put it out there, he suggested maybe getting a handler in the future to let him know when he goes too far. Not to be a better person and coach, but to get someone else to make sure he does it. And keep
like
in
that
mind,
guy on the football sidelines.
yeah, and this whole interview is done on a platform that's behind a fucking paywall. Is the biggest thing that I don't think that this can be taken seriously as any sign that Mike Babcock plans on being better as a coach in the future.
Did he say anything about the Chelios situation?
No, because that was just, yeah. I mean, that's all old. That was dealt with, that was news forever ago.
But I mean, if it's brought up, it's brought up.
No, they stuck to the things that had come out around when he was getting fired. Because, Chelios, it was fucked up, but he benched a guy. It happens. It's the, being abusive and to guys like Franzen to the point of leading a guy to a mental breakdown and then saying it hurts you to fucking hear about it. It's just so, I don't know. I don't think it's enough. But you know how incestuous the NHL is with hiring coaches and stuff. He did just enough that GMs will be able to say, like, look, he apologized, and he'll probably be back to coaching sooner than later.
Pull the Urban Meyer, go broadcast for a couple of years, and then go back.
Pretty much, that's my guess. Tony Dungy, what he tries to do.
Yeah.
Colt's face as we're just making more and more football references.
It hurts, man.
Hey, score check. What's Bills KC doing?
14-9 Kansas City, but Kansas City has first and goal on the 1.
Jesus Christ. And it was 9-0 when I tuned in earlier.
Yeah.
So we're going to see the new Tom Brady against Tom Brady, basically.
Yeah.
Fucking tight.
Building off of the Toronto bullshit with Babcock. Jumbo is out with fractured ribs 4 weeks. Tavares blocked a shot, looked hurt, ended up coming back that same game. He's cleared. And then Austin Matthews is out with a upper body injury.
Everybody hurts,
That's
man.
a lot.
Everybody hurts. Yeah.
Everybody hurts.
I mean, that's 2/3 of your top line. And, yeah. That's rough.
And your top 2 centers.
Well, Tavares came back, but yeah. But yeah, no, losing the center and winger from your top line, that's rough. Did
you see the absolute fucking drip Austin Matthews showed up in the press box with, though?
Yes.
He was fucking profiling.
Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Your mic just couldn't handle that word profile in the way you yelled it. Or my coughing.
No, that's a shitty for the Maple Leafs, especially to have it all happen in one night against the Oilers.
Yeah.
And it was the first night that, because I will openly admit, I've watched a little bit more Maple Leafs hockey than I care to admit already this year. And that was the first night I feel like they put together a really complete game. And for whatever reason, they just kept getting shit happened one after another, and it was brutal.
Yeah, well, and the thing with the Maple Leafs is so much of that team is reliant on 4 players up top.
Oh, it's totally reliant on those top 2 lines.
Yeah, so for 2/3 of one of them to be out, Thornton isn't one of the money guys, but you're not looking at a team with a whole lot of depth in the bottom six.
No.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
Hyman up to the first line again.
Huh?
So
Oh,
they'll probably
Hyman,
bring
yeah.
Hyman up to the first line.
I thought I missed a name and you said someone was climbing up. Yeah.
Oh, nope.
Yeah, I mean, I guess really you bump that Tavares line up to being the top line and bump Martyr down with whoever as the second line, but it's not ideal. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not a good time to be a Toronto fan. Stop me if you've heard that before.
You're right. What else is going on? The Larkin-Werenski fight was one of the funniest fucking things I've seen in a long time.
Larkin got Werenski's
everything
families.
around it.
Between the fight itself, Werenski coming off just bleeding profusely, and then just the circumstances around the fight itself are just it's legitimately funny to me.
Yeah, the fact that
Larkin got.
Go ahead.
Larkin gets his family into the arena, and then they just fucking throw fists.
Yeah, bloodies their
Fantastic.
child in front of them while they're sitting there watching with tickets that he hooked them up with. It's
Irony at its finest.
You know what I love about it though is, you know, if you miss the old style aspects of the game, there it is.
Hey,
Yeah. Who'd have thought it came with Dylan Larkin and Zach Werenski, though?
Larkin doesn't completely shock me. Werenski getting
He's kind
involved
of
in a
an
fight
asshole.
surprises me. Yeah.
Yeah. Just not the two people that you would think would go at it from those teams.
Oh, definitely not. No. Yeah, that's Larkin. I see there's a lot of his game where I would kind of give him some Bergeron light comparisons, and that's one of them. Not a guy you expect to see fighting, but on the rare occasion he does, I'm not surprised to see him bloody a guy. Especially a guy that's not much of a fighter himself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't shock me, but it's, like you don't expect it by any means. But yeah, I don't know. There's not too much on that, but it was pretty funny.
Yep.
It was great.
Before we get into some of the other bullshit, I'm assuming, Phil, in your notes, Grizz hurt is Grizzlick.
Yep. Trent,
Okay.
is any updates on that?
None that I saw. I don't think that he's supposed to be playing tomorrow. I do know that Connor Clifton came in for him first time this year. Clifton coming in, and I really like him on that second pairing with Carlo. I almost kind of want to see Lausanne go down and have the McAvoy-Grizzlick line once he comes back.
Who do they play tomorrow?
I think it's... No, they played Philly.
I can
I'm
tell
not
you.
sure.
Because I know, so it's the first of a back-to-back. The reason I ask is I know
I
the
can-
Penguins
I
and
can
Bruins
tell
play
you.
Tuesday.
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
There's no
What-
game on
shit
the,
out
the,
Philly.
the only game on Monday is the Senators and Canucks.
Okay, so you're
Okay,
thinking
so they
of
must play on
Tuesday, which
Tuesday.
is Penguins
Yes,
Bruins.
Yes, Penguins
Okay.
Bruins on Tuesday.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll have some nice words for each other on next week's episodes after Tuesday, Thursday
Oh, yeah.
being Penguins Bruins.
We'll see.
Oh man, you guys are
Do you guys?
gonna fucking tire your fucking arms out scoring on us. Suck it.
It's gonna be a lot of
It's just-
NHL. A lot of
So-
NHL 95 celebrations out of the Bruins.
Only if it's on the power play.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, though.
Talk about that. When's your team gonna figure out how to fucking score 5-on-5?
Who?
Last night against
Oh.
Philly. Scored, I think, what was it? 3? Yeah, 3 5-on-5 and 3 power play goals.
Congratulations.
We got a 5-on-5 goal. I'm just happy about that.
I just love waking up to see a video on the internet of Carter Hart smashing his fucking stick to splinters on the goalpost.
Kind of reminds you of Ron Hextall, doesn't it?
It's funny, I said something about it being his best Tim Thomas to my Uncle Ed, who then made the Ron Hextall comparison.
Could have been a Tuukka Rask impersonation too.
Yeah, Tuca down in Providence. That's a good.
Mm-hmm.
That's that
It's
video. I'm sure
definitely-
everyone has seen it in related videos on YouTube. The 14 minutes of pissed off goalies
I
video.
was literally just about to say it's more like Tuca losing his shit in the 14 minutes of pissed off goalie.
I believe that was the one
Yeah.
that was in Providence that I was
Yeah,
it
referring
was.
to,
It
because
was.
it's the thumbnail for that video that is in the related videos to anything hockey related that you ever watch.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh,
But yeah, no,
I'm
it's-
really glad that that's what he's going to be remembered for.
Before we get into some of the like Homer-ish stuff for our teams, Phil Kessel. I'm assuming you put this in your notes because you have something you want to talk about with Phil.
oh, he's just on fire. And from what
Oh.
I'm hearing, Phil Kessel is, he's always been a great player, obviously, but never been known as like a great organizational guy. But all the reports coming out of Arizona, he's mentoring players, doing things that Phil Kessel is not known for doing, basically. And
I did see those reports, and I was going to bring up. I think we legitimately said on this podcast, like, Kessel's not a mentor young players guy,
yeah,
or doesn't come across as that guy.
he generally, just based on reputation, like, big fan of him. He won 2 Stanley Cups for my team, but like, it's always kind of seemed like he's kind of a dickhead. You hear a lot of stories of people saying how great he is. It seems like he clashes with management no matter where he is.
We are talking about a guy who declined a trade to the Minnesota Wild because he didn't want to play where he played in college.
Yeah,
That
So,
doesn't make any
he
sense.
he burns his bridges. Well, suffice it to
He-
say that.
Hold on, Trent. Do you not know this story?
I don't think I do.
That was
The
the
original-
original trade for Zucker. Go ahead, Cole.
Yeah.
Really?
No, that was the original trade deal for Zucker. Was Phil Kessel, Kalen Addison for Jason Zucker, and the option was on Kessel. The trade doesn't go if Kessel doesn't want to go, and there are 2 stories surrounding the trade for Kessel. The first one is that he didn't want to play in Minnesota. Didn't want to play where he quote unquote grew up. He didn't grow up here, but he played here in college. Won a national championship. But the other story is that he didn't want to play with Ryan Suter.
I didn't know
Why would
that
he
one.
not want to play with him?
That's the room that is a very rumorous story.
They
under-
clash on the Olympic teams or something?
Yeah, that's been the rumor. So before the Paul Fenton stuff went down, because that was who the original trade was brought up by, was Paul Fenton, who got fired after like a year as a GM for the Wild because he was a piece of shit and like was apparently just like an awful human being.
So
Apparently,
of course
the
the
rumor
Flyers
was,
had to have him.
yeah, not Chuck Fletcher, not Chuck Fletcher.
Oh, duh.
Fenton.
I'm stupid.
It was the guy between Fletcher and Guerin.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But the
Similar
the
names.
rumor was, the rumor was is that when the Wild approached Suter about it, he goes, "Yeah, I don't care. Talk to Phil though. I'm sure he's going to have some things to say about me." They went to Kessel, and Kessel's like, "Fuck that. I'm not playing with Ryan Suter."
Wow. Yeah.
That's the hot rumor. None of that has been confirmed. That is very rumorous, and I've seen like Russo has danced around the subject whenever it's asked, like, "Hey, why didn't Kessel come here?" And Russo, for people who don't know, is the head writer for the Minnesota Wild. He basically was just like, "Here's what I know. Here's what is rumored." And the big rumor is that Kessel's like, "I'm not fucking playing with Ryan Suter."
Now I want to know what happened.
So just
Like,
out of
between those two.
curiosity, not knowing what the pick will be yet, where it will be, or who it will be, just based off what we know now, would you prefer Zucker having been your favorite player? Which return would you have preferred for him?
I don't know, man.
It's all audio,
really
and he's
don't.
talking with his hands again.
I truly don't know. Phil Kessel would have been cool on this team, but granted, some of the rumors about Suter and Zach, well, not necessarily Zach, but like, I don't know if Kessel and Zach got along, and clearly Kessel and Suter don't get along in general.
I mean, you got to kind of
So,
assume that if there were to be beef between Suter and Kessel, that if Zach was involved at all, he's probably on Suter's side.
correct. And
Well,
obviously Suter and Zach are very close. I mean, that's not surprising.
Yeah, did you
At
guys
all.
know that they're both from Minnesota? I don't know if anyone ever reported that around the time of that free agency year.
Are you fucking kidding me?
calm
Actually,
down, Pierre.
Yes, I am kidding
Suter's
you.
not Suter's not from here. He's from Wisconsin.
Well,
He's
I
from
mean that
Madison.
they played together all through in
Yes,
Minnesota.
Yeah, I know.
That was that got beaten to absolute death when they both signed there.
I'm actually cool with the return we got. I think Zucker got a new chance under a new regime in Pittsburgh, and I'm very happy for him. Seems like I'm kind of pissed off that Galchenyuk didn't resign. But
Are you?
Kalen Addison, not really. I mean, he looked good. He had a good half in the second half of the season. He started to come on. But I
Galchenyuk,
just think
he just looks like he doesn't care sometimes.
that was the thing
Sometimes or most of the time.
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's good when he decides to be good. But
Yeah.
it's not often enough.
It's whatever, man. Like I don't think there was a winning situation. I think clearly the regime before Billy Guerin wanted Zucker fucking gone, and I think that old regime had put out too many flyers out there for Zucker, or even a new regime wasn't not going to move him, because I think too many people had inquired about Zucker, and I think the infrastructure for a trade to the Penguins was already there.
Yeah, well, especially
So,
Guerin having come over from us.
Right.
See, I would have preferred for the
So-
Kessel trade to go through.
Yeah.
Was Bukestad
I
part of
think
that
we
deal,
all-
or did he sign with you guys after?
Free agent.
Okay. I wasn't sure, because
Free agent.
I didn't think so, because I was kind of surprised to see him on your roster. How's he doing? Is he playing well?
Dean Evason kind of moves the lines around a lot more than I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there's not a true number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 line. Like,
Who's
2
playing
nights
well
ago,
tonight?
Yeah. Like Victor Rask the other night started the game on the 4th line, and by the last 2 periods, he was playing first line minutes. He was playing with Kaprizov and Parisi. So, like,
So basically, just whoever's game is going that night. throw him
yeah,
up
pretty
there.
much.
Okay.
But he's big. Like, that's the thing about Bukestad. I don't want to say deceivingly big, because you know how big he is, but how strong he is on the puck sometimes surprises you.
Yeah.
I've liked what I want him to score, but I don't think that's his game anymore.
I think a big part of Bukestad's problem, at least why fan bases tend to not like him, is they see his size and they think they're getting he doesn't play as the player that you're expecting if you just see him. When the Penguins traded for him and McCann, everyone was talking about how Bukestad is going to be this big net front presence. I was like, no, that's McCann out of this deal, possibly. Even McCann doesn't play that game all the time, but Bukestad doesn't play a big game for his size, and big players that don't play tough drive people crazy.
Yeah. Phil, just keep talking about the Penguins. I'll be right back. So you guys talk about the Penguins.
All right. I have to pull up my Penguins notes here. I'm watching it right now. They're losing 1-0 to the Rangers. They're on a 3-game win streak here, but it's all shootout wins, and that it's not like a regular season where you don't give a shit about the other team getting an overtime point because it's like LA or something. It's tough to keep giving up those overtime points when you're a struggling team and the whole season is divisional games. And for the Penguins, you're in one of the, I'd say, the strongest division in the league. And,
one of, if not the,
yeah. Two points to the Capitals while finishing that series 2-0, but having still given out 2 points to the Capitals. That's the kind of shit that can kill us.
Yeah. The first game that the Bruins played was against the Devils that went to a shootout. That was unnecessary.
Yeah, that's rough. I don't know, man.
Well, and then they lost the second game, but
they're getting these wins, but it's still, I mean, the goals against is ridiculous. They did a little better the other night, just going into overtime 3-3. But after their first 4 games, they had a 4.5 goals against average, second only to the Blackhawks at 5. They're down to like third in goals against. It's 4.2, and they've given up 1 tonight. It's just not good. One thing I'll say, it's good to see. We'll be talking about the trade in a minute. I was glad to see Roslovic go not to us, because it was looking like Rutherford was going for him, and I don't really know how much Jack Roslovic was going to help this team.
right.
Our defense is banged up. Pettersson and Riikola both out. Matheson was already... I remember last week I thought he was a healthy scratch till Colt came through with the news. A lot of Penguins thought he was a healthy scratch, but he's out long term. So we're down 3 D-men already. Pierre-Oliver Joseph looks okay so far. Kapanen has looked good so far, but everyone wants to see him on the top line, but he looks like he's fucking exhausted 10 minutes into the game.
This is dumb stuff because we're obviously talking short term, 5-6 games into the season.
Yeah.
Right.
But long term, is the defense the biggest concern about this team?
Absolutely. Just the back end in general. Defense, and the way the defense is, it's really hard to judge a goalie. I mean, it's the same. It's the same as it's been, because I was one of the people that defended Matt Murray through a lot of his issues. No goalie's going to look good in front of this team. It's fucking terrible.
No, go ahead.
I don't know. They just, like I said, I mean, 18 goals in their first 4 games, 21 in their first 5. That's unacceptable numbers.
That's brutal.
In a way,
I don't think Yari's as bad as his numbers look.
No, I mean, that 3 goals in 3 minutes against the Rangers on I think it was Friday night. Yeah, Friday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of those goals was on him. The other 2 were just bad team in front of him. I do believe, to a point, though, I mean, if Jari wants to be the guy, there's a point where you need to be better than not the problem. It's Matt Stafford syndrome. There's a point where you need to stop just not being the problem and become part of the solution. And he hasn't been doing that, and DeSmith isn't really either. He's been a little bit better. It's just bad, man. Feels bad. Yeah, I don't know. I have kind of a hard time talking about them because there's not much that we haven't already said. Teddy Blue, the bottom 6, those guys are working their asses off. The other big problem is that Rust, Zucker, Malkin line is invisible.
I didn't notice them till that OT goal the Rust goal. What was it?
That was
Not
Friday.
Last night.
Yeah,
Friday night. That was the first time, and I watched a little bit of that game. Obviously, I'm watching for my guy. but that was the first time, like you said, that was the first time that line had been visible all year. And
Oh my
I
god! And
I think
Malkin or Zucker and Rust were trying to give it away in overtime.
hmm
It was terrible.
um I do think it's interesting. Again, I watch a lot for my guy, and when I do watch the Penguins, if my guy's not on the ice, I'm kind of fucking checked out. I do think it's interesting that you saw success last year for Zucker on a line with Crosby, and it. Oh, again, like this is just as a outside looking in fan for looking for one guy. Do you think it's a little interesting that they didn't keep going with the success that a new guy like Jason had, or do you think it's like, oh well, Crosby has his guys he wants to play with?
Well, Zucker and Gensel play the same position,
Mm-hmm.
but we saw success for Gensel with Malkin and Rust. So I wouldn't hate the idea of seeing Crosby, Zucker, Kapanen. That's a fast fucking line with a guy that has the skill to get those guys in position, to get the puck into positions where their speed matters. You know, like sometimes teams add speed and it actually just makes it worse. You know, we saw a lot with Kapanen in Toronto. Our buddy Alec, Leafs fan, his big problem with Kapanen is he'd get ahead of the play and have to kind of button hook and wait for the play to catch up with him. He's not going to have that issue with Zucker. Even though Crosby's not as fast as him, Crosby's ahead of the play anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Just out
He's
of
3
knowing
steps
where to
ahead of the
go.
play.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing... And, yeah, Gensel, Rust, and Malkin... They need to do something to get Malkin to wake up. The only time you notice that guy these days is when he fucking turns the puck over or when he's mad and slashing people after the whistle. And lastly, Mike Sullivan's cousin.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. I was the next thing on my list.
Oh man, just slanging pics of that one-eyed Wonder Weasel, getting himself in trouble, getting fired from the Mets.
Oh no.
I didn't realize they were cousins till I saw that story.
I didn't
I
either.
didn't realize they were cousins until right now.
Yeah, that was Mike Sullivan's cousin, the Mets GM that got
Oh
fired.
no.
Yeah.
That dude's from here, the Mets guy.
Oh,
He's from
really?
Wayzata. Yeah, he's a local.
That's weird because Sullivan's from Boston.
You don't have a
He-
cousin that doesn't live anywhere near you?
Well, I mean, none of my cousins live anywhere near me because I've moved to Iowa, but
Yeah, he's a local guy. The Twins almost hired him a couple years ago.
I
yeah.
had to dodge a bullet there.
Quite literally, just dodging dicks everywhere.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's enough about the Penguins. I haven't given up on them yet, but there is not a lot of joy to be found in that team right now.
No.
Right now, I'm watching
Yes,
a young, not great New York team completely control the pace of the game on them.
Are they playing the Rangers tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. That Rangers team is young. They have a lot of they have a lot of room to grow. But, oh man, that team is rough.
Yeah, and if it doesn't get better, they're going to do that thing where they hire a bunch of guys that are way past their prime to get some experience in the room, and that rarely really pans out all that well.
Yeah.
Chara to the Rangers.
Oh God, you would drop dead. You would drop
would.
dead.
They'd be fucking skating circles around him.
Yeah.
Can I talk about the only trade so far in the NHL season? Or it's not the only trade, is it?
So, do we want to get
One
to
of
this now?
I mean, yeah, what else do we have to talk about? I think we've covered everything so far.
Yeah, let's do that, and then you guys can talk about your teams, and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, I'll just quickly blast through my thing. So Tuesday last week, the Wild traded Greg Pattern for Ian Cole, defenseman for defenseman straight up.
Oh, that only trade in the NHL. I didn't pick
Yeah.
up on that bit you were doing. Okay.
Yeah. No, Interesting trade because it kind of felt like you were trading third line or third pair defenseman for third pair defenseman.
Yeah.
And after 2 games, I absolutely see why the Wild made the trade. Ian Cole has brought a little something extra to that blue line, and the fact that
Heard of
dude
him.
goes 150% every second
Yeah.
he's on the ice. I mean, he's all effort. Specifically, there was a play on what was it? It was in here Sunday night. So there's a play on Friday night. It was a must-have kill for the Wild, and they were hemmed in the zone. Cole intercepts the pass, falls, and then from his back is able to clear the puck out of the zone. And that was not a play Greg Patterson was going to make. It just straight up wasn't. Greg Patterson was a solid third pair defenseman, but he was also a solid third pair defenseman in the fact that he might be in the press box some nights. Where
Yeah.
I truly think at this stage in his game, Ian Cole, he's going to be out on the ice every night. Like, that's just what you're going to get. He's going to bring some nastiness. Dude's got a wicked shot. But also he's going to be visible. And that's the thing. Greg Patterson in a season and a half, 2 seasons and a half, wasn't visible.
No.
What?
We have another. There was fucking Evan Rodriguez and Cheadle just collided, and they blew the whistle. Rodriguez is on his way to the bench, hunched over, and Cheadle is face down on the ice, and it looks like their knees might have caught each other. Go ahead. I'll update it when you're done with your rant and let you know what I can tell after.
No, I think it's a very Billy Guerin trade. Billy G bringing in a guy he knows from the Penguins organization.
Yeah.
But so far, I really don't hate it, man. I like what I see from Ian Cole. You're probably a guy who knows a lot more about Ian Cole.
Yeah.
A guy that knows Benino too. So I mean that doesn't hurt because I know a story Russo wrote a couple weekends ago. Basically said that Benino's adjusting, but he kind of was like, yeah, I'm not necessarily a guy any of these people know. So I'm a little bit not outside looking in, but it's taken a while for me to acclimate to a group of completely new guys. So I'm sure bringing in Ian Cole helps a guy like Benino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so far, big fan of the trade. It was an interesting trade. That's one of those things where it's like a third line defenseman for a third line defenseman. Okay.
And Ian Cole's the kind of guy that fans grow to love quick because that guy, he blocks every shot he has a chance at.
Oh yeah, and he's I think he's already racked up like 8 shot blocks in 2 games or something like that. He's been awesome.
Yeah.
So far. And just to quickly wrap up my thing about the Wild, Cam Talbot had to leave Saturday's game or Friday night's game early. It looked like he pushed off on the pipe and he pulled something because he was clearly in discomfort. Led the team out right for the second period, but didn't even start the second period. He went to his blue line, skated around for a minute, and was like, "I'm out." But Wild they look okay, man. They're 4-1. Fiala finally scored. Parise finally scored. Parise scored again tonight with Kaprizov on the assist. So that team, they're going to take a minute to get going. I don't think they're. Like I said, I don't. They look very mediocre, and what you're going to get is what you're going to get with them.
All right, so just to the quick update, Cheadle and Rodriguez, it looks like it's both upper body injuries. Last they showed Cheadle, he was still on the bench, but the trainer was looking at him. Rodriguez went straight to the room. And, boys, this might be a third period worth watching if things don't slow down here. They are mad on both sides.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, boy, yeah, they're going. Yeah, another thing I wanted to say with Ian Cole, it's good to see him get into a good system where he can be a third pairing D-man. I don't know quite what happened between him and Sullivan in Pittsburgh where he was getting scratched by the time he was gone. Because at first it was kind of like a foregone conclusion that he was going to be gone when his contract was up. Everyone was talking like it was going to be cap space issues, but then he signed for $2 million. I don't fully understand that trade still from Colorado's perspective. You could call it a cap dump if they hadn't retained salary.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. I think it was lessening the blow because I think I'm guessing because the percentage that they retained hasn't come out yet, but I'm assuming they just traded the two players and then Colorado basically is like, we'll keep whatever you owe Greg and then you owe the rest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know.
Greg's was only like 2.2 million, and I know Cole's was a little higher.
It's just not two teams you expect to see making a trade with each other in the first place, let alone with retaining salary being involved.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. I think that's a little bit of that Billy G magic, where I think a lot of people are like, it's Billy Garrett. He's not going to fuck us over.
Yeah.
But that means that Joe Sakic made a bad move.
But that's the thing is,
I don't know if Cole was cracking the lineup though.
He was starting.
What was he in Colorado? Was he playing every night? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was almost every night.
Yeah, he was playing more often than Patterson was at the end of last season. That's for sure.
Okay, yeah, then I don't understand why Sakic made this move at all, because they didn't really free up any space with retaining salary.
They freed up quota. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting, but I'll take it. Like, if this is the Ian Cole we're gonna get in, night in, night out, I'm all about it.
Oh, Ian Cole is the thing with Cole. The only knock I'd ever have on him is sometimes the reason for all those block shots. It seems like it's because sometimes it seems like he gets outmatched, and he just knows he's not going to be able to stay on his assignment, so he just stays between the puck and the net.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where that seems to be the case, but I mean, even then, they can't fucking score if you're blocking the net. So ultimately, I'd say he's a net positive for you 90% of the time. So
sure.
I'm happy to see him get into a system where he especially able to play on the third pairing. I mean, he was in Colorado too, but yeah, just seems like a great fit for him, especially with your guys' system where really just one more guy suppressing shots is what else could you ask for from the guy?
Yeah, I can't ask for anything better. I mean, Brodin block shots, Virgin will go down and block shots.
Well, and who's he playing with on that
Hunt,
pairing?
He is playing with Carson Soucy.
Is that maybe a player that you don't want to have be the one blocking shots?
No, Soucy's more a guy who you need an opposite hand shot.
Brian Rust, baby,
Soucy's
1-1.
Soucy's the guy you need an opposite hand shot on his pairing to be successful.
Okay.
And he wasn't on an opposite hand shot with Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of whatever. I like it for Soucy because Soucy's developing into a really nice young defenseman who he's a two-way defenseman. He kind of does everything. But having a guy like Ian Cole potentially with him, a guy he can learn from, is really nice, especially for having a college defenseman who played on a very, very offensive-heavy team. Is awesome. So I love it.
And I'm sure with that combination, Cole's probably going to be more of a stay-at-home defenseman anyways to let him free up and create some offense too, so that'll help.
Yeah, I mean, all the offense you're really going to see out of Cole, he has a heavy shot, but it's not super accurate. He's not going to score a lot, but, it gets it down low at least. Main thing you'll see from him is first passes, the breakout.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the other thing. He's been really crisp and clean. Ian Cole moves the breakout. He really does.
Yeah.
It's been nice to see.
Yeah, it's an underrated part of his game.
Then the other nice thing has been seeing what that does for the other two lines or D pairs of like Spurgeon Brodin or Suter Dumba or some combination of that top four defensemen. It allows Everson to be kind of flexible with those four. So yeah, it's been nice. Let's talk about the reason everybody's listening.
The Bruins.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
I thought
The
do we want to do
Bruins.
the Bruins first and then Dubois, or do we want to just go into this first?
That's up to you guys. I'm good either way.
Fuck it, yeah. Let's talk about the Bruins.
Who would have thunk before last night's game that Nick Ritchie would have been the points leader for the Boston Bruins this early in the season?
No shit.
This dude is looking insane this year. Like it looks like he's actually been playing with the team longer than the bubble.
Well,
But he's
that's
fitting
good
in
because
really
you were
well.
certainly not happy about them keeping him.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'm really glad. And like I said last week, they're going to need a week or two to jump off, and they finally did it. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season. Pasta's looking like he's going to come back before he's supposed to. They're talking end of January.
I was seeing that.
So
Yeah, they were
that'll be
saying.
soon.
Yeah.
So he's already been on the ice with the team, non-contact, but he's still out there. And they said that they're going to reevaluate probably at the end of this week, so he could possibly be on the team in a week.
On the thing is, once you get that top line going with Bergeron, didn't they break them up for a while, but then eventually go back to that line, Bergeron, Marchand, Pasta?
They did, but it was just kind of trying to see if he could spark the second line with Krejci and DeBrusk.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't even know if I'd want to even move DeBrusk down to the second line. I might just keep Pasta with Krejci.
Which is...
Because DeBrusk on that first line, he's a workhorse.
And he's been needing to break out, too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think... he's got one... He doesn't have a goal yet, but he won the shootout the other day against Philly. But, yeah, I think that they might even just keep DeBrusk on that first line. Yeah, it's his off wing, but he's working.
Well,
and Bergeron and Marchand are going to do what they do best.
And if they're able to pull that off, then, I mean, Krejci finally having two finishers with Craig Smith and Pasta, that could be just as potent of a line.
Oh, no, they got Craig Smith with Coyle.
Do they?
They got Trent Frederick. Yeah, Trent Frederick moved up to the third line, bumped Bjork down. So now the third line is 11, 12, 13. Because Frederick's 11, Smith is 12, and Coyle's 13.
Okay. Yeah, and then
Yeah, I like that line combo.
I mean, any line with Pasta is going to be potent. So, yeah, that could be a really dangerous, top nine.
Yeah, they got Richie. They got Richie with Krejci, and when Pasta comes back, if they put Pasta up there, that's going to be insane. Because Richie's still got the physicality to be able to protect or create opportunities for Pasta off of the physical play too. So
I can't remember. It
really
was one of your defensemen.
It
was one of your defensemen. I can't remember who. I think am I wrong, or did I read that Kevin Miller is playing great?
Oh, he is.
That surprises me because I've heard Bruins fans. Yeah, I've heard Bruins fans even before he got hurt curse his name for years, and now I'm hearing that he's great.
I don't know why they were cursing his name. He's not a top 4 defenseman, and by any means, he's definitely more of a stay-at-home defenseman, kind of just create in the back end, try to force the play out. Yeah. But the way that he's been playing this year, it looks like he's better than what he was before, and that's with 2 broken kneecaps afterwards.
Yeah, no, I was surprised to hear that, but that's definitely. Was not expecting to hear people praising Kevin Miller not for his physical play, but for his just all-around game.
Yeah.
Not a situation I'm used to.
Saying they're 2 rookies on the back end, Zaboral and Lausanne. They've been playing fairly well. I like Zaboral's game a lot better than Lausanne's at the moment, but it's also because Lausanne's playing on the first pair with McAvoy, and McAvoy's just outshining him.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready for this trade?
Let's get into this Pierre-Luc Dubois shit, because I got some fucking issues with it.
Oh, I definitely have some issues with it.
All right. So hold on, let me pull up the full trade real quick just so I know.
I got it.
Like,
It's
okay,
Pierre-Luc Dubois and a third for Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic. Roslovic at the time was not signed 2 years, 1.9 million per, almost immediately. And neither team got better in this trade.
no,
No,
not at all.
It's like they just swapped problematic players.
Yeah, we'll give you two guys we don't like anymore for the guy you don't like anymore in a pick. And both team, I'll let you guys go because I have a whole fucking rant about this that I don't want to just say everything that both of you two have to say. So I'll let you two guys go.
I'm sure my take is very similar to yours, but like, it felt very much like just like you said, it's a fucking trade to make a trade. You're getting rid of one problem for another problem. I don't think Line and Torts are gonna be match made in heaven. In fact, I think it's gonna be fucking problematic. I you know, Pierre-Luc Dubois gives Winnipeg something up the middle, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, why though? Gives them a nice top two, center 1-2 in the center, but it just, I don't like anything about it. I don't think it was a good trade. I legit think it's just like, here and here, get the fuck out.
I've been saying it as a joke, but there is a possibility of Laine and Tortorella having problems before he's even reactivated off IR. Which, by the way,
Real.
that in itself is a problematic aspect of this trade. Laine is on IR.
Yeah. No, he's not.
What?
I just think it doesn't make sense at all. I don't know why any of the GMs would do that.
I just think what it comes down to, so if you're Columbus, you now have no top center to speak of. So you not only you want to trade to fill a hole that you have, they not only didn't do that, they actively fucking poked a new one. They did get Patrick Laine. On paper, that's a good return. If you don't look at the
That'll
lineup,
bring some score.
Go ahead.
That'll just help. That would we talked a little bit about it in the preview episodes, where we were kind of like, where's Columbus's secondary scoring going to come from? That helps. In a way, it helps their scoring issue.
Well, who's
But
getting
at
him
the
the
same
puck
time,
to
it's like-
score, though?
That's exactly what's going to be my next point. Is like, is Seth Jones going to assist on every fucking Patrick Laine goal this year?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, is your
Yeah.
defenseman going to be stepping up into the play enough to set up the one-timer every time?
yeah. What line is he even going to jump into? Like, where do you put him?
Yeah. And would we...
And I just
How shocked would
Somebody
we
else
be
into
if
a
they're in the
center.
exact same situation they were in with Dubois within a year?
oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people have made this joke, but if I'm Pierre-Luc Dubois, I want it out of Manitoba, so I'm going to go to fucking Ohio?
You mean
Like, I know.
Laine?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, same thing. And then the same thing goes with Dubois. I want it out of Ohio, and I'm going to go to Manitoba. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
The only
None
winner of
of
this
it
trade is Roslovic, who apparently is from Columbus, getting to go home.
Right, exactly.
But
Third pick, or the third round pick.
And even that part of it is weird. It was like, because it was rumored that when that trade first got announced, at first it was a 2-for-1 for Dubois. I'm like, that's a lot to give up. And even
Especially
like
Laine being a beast.
if they
Right.
took their
And then
if they took their time,
Yeah.
they probably could have gotten an equal return for Laine alone.
oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, so yeah, Columbus actively poked a new hole in their lineup down the middle. And yes, they got a great goal scorer, assuming someone's able to get him the puck. And assuming that he's even able to fucking play with Torts as his coach. If you're
Mm-hmm.
if you're Dubois, you want to get out of Ohio and you end up in Manitoba. Same with Liney, the other way around, and also if he can't get along with Paul Maurice, now he has to get along with John Tortorella. I don't get it. I don't think Liney's going to pan out in Columbus. So like I said, on paper it's a good play, or a good trade for them as far as the return. But when you look at the lineup that he's going to be with, I don't really think it even makes them better. Now Winnipeg already has down the middle their top 3 centers were Scheifele, Stastny, and Lowry. Lowry is fine as a third line center. Yeah, he looks better on your fourth line. Now that they have Dubois, down the middle, they are fucking stacked. If you can have Adam Lowry as your fourth line center, you're in a good position down the middle.
Oh my God, take another fucking penalty, Minnesota. God damn.
I wondered what Colton was spacing out on there. But yeah,
Fuck.
the thing with Winnipeg, though, is the big knock on them all through the last 2-3 seasons has been that they have one of the worst defensive cores in the NHL. So not only do they trade away Liney and Roslovic for a return that Liney alone could have gotten them, they have one of the worst blue lines in the NHL, and they trade 2 forwards that multiple teams were interested in for not so much as a prospect at that blue line.
Right.
They didn't solve any of the actual problem they have, and they just strengthened themselves at a position that they already had strength.
And I saw somebody bring up your point with the blue line the other day, and it was kind of like, oh, well, you could easily turn that third round pick into a defenseman. I'm like,
yeah, in like 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
Not 6, but yeah, 3-4 years maybe. This is a team that was in the conference championship recently.
Yeah, you know, it's brutal. Like that's the only way I put this trade is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, man. It doesn't solve either team's problems. It doesn't help anybody, and it was a trade to make a trade, and that is the best way you can sum it up. It was a trade to make a trade. And what I want to know is, what did Anaheim offer? What did some of these other teams that an hour before the trade got announced, or the night before the trade got announced, that there was apparently some sweepstakes at 10:30 at night where teams were notified that they were either in or out? What made a team in on this trade if this was the trade that ended up getting through?
Yeah.
Well, what could a team have offered that Columbus would have?
Well, and that is partially a failure on Columbus to take care of this before it was such a public thing that everyone knew they had to move him. That lowers your return right there when everyone knows that he's got to go. And then
you'll know when I bench him.
When
he benches him the next game.
Yeah, and granted, he deserved every fucking ounce of that bench. The way that he went into that corner and just lost.
Terrible.
I saw a video of the entire shift he played. He just went out there and skated around, and then went into that corner and let them have the puck.
I made the joke in our group chat, but watching his effort was laugh out loud funny.
It was.
Yeah.
Like it was laugh out loud funny of how little the dude cared.
I'm surprised I haven't seen a video of it where they start playing the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme at the end.
Oh, and it wasn't even his effort to get down into the corner. It was his effort skating back to the bench where he kind of like lifted up his skate, and you could tell he was just super lazy and just like, don't suit up for the game. Just ask to be scratched at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as a player, you absolutely have that right.
Yeah.
You absolutely have that right to go up to the coach and say, just scratch me.
Your couch is probably more comfortable than that bench.
Yeah. And potentially that pisses off a lot more people, but you want to really never have a spot on a team or even a fan base ever again, go out there and pull that shit on 3 minutes and 55 seconds of ice time.
Well, and whether it's fair or not, Tortorella is a well-respected coach, and
it's fucking embarrassing.
He's only on a 2-year deal, and before he gets his first unrestricted free agent shot, and this is going to be fresh in the mind of a lot of GMs who respect John Tortorella.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
He did himself no favors.
Absolutely none. And I understand he's a young kid. He's just trying to make a name for himself. That's not the fucking way you make a name for yourself.
And the thing is, I understand it, but the GMs don't. Like,
I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I get being unhappy, but you also had a week and a half, 2 weeks prior basically said, I'm here for as long as my contract says I'm here.
That's true, yeah. I don't understand the hot dogging aspect of it. I understand the being pissed and wanting out, but the way he handled it was terrible.
It's just,
last take on this is the second time in as many years that the Jets have had to trade away a good young player for next to nothing.
Yeah.
What's going on in that locker room? And to some degree, with there being, I wouldn't call it a hot take because I don't fucking know. Maurice is a bit of a hard-ass coach, but he's not that much. At what point do a part of me wonders, shouldn't Blake Wheeler be helping a little here to be a bridge between Maurice and these kids?
Ooh.
One would hope.
I mean, I just kind of think Blake Wheeler is a very old-school type player, and I kind of wonder if he's one of the guys, that like has the resentment for these younger kids and maybe isn't quite doing his part to help with this. Because you shouldn't be having to... It's one thing to let guys walk in free agency, but trading young good players like Trouba and Liney for nothing, there's something in that locker room. There is something wrong with the culture in Winnipeg.
Yeah, even a guy like, I know Statsny had left for a year or two, but even a guy like that who knows what that locker room looks like, because that team hasn't changed a ton since he was there.
Bufflin left, just out of the blue.
Bufflin, not out of the blue, in one of the most toxic ways I've ever seen a contract blow up.
That's what I mean. I don't want to just put it on Wheeler. And then, it was a heat of the moment thing, but then Scheifele being involved in that situation with Marner, I kind of question their player leadership too.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I love Blake Wheeler. I hate to, speculate on it like that. Because a lot of blaming, a lot of people's ideas of leaders is complete projection. But there's a point where there's something wrong in that room, and I don't think anyone is doing their job to fix it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would agree. And again, like you said, you don't want to speculate on anything, but at this point, there's 3 years of a track record of weird shit happening in that locker room.
It's almost Ottawa light at this point.
Might even say they turned into the new Ottawa, because Ottawa's kind of looking good.
Yeah, they're just giving up a lot of goals, though.
Yeah, they're still young.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's something stinks in Winnipeg, and it's not looking good for them. And I don't know what it is. But like I said, I mean, even if those guys aren't the problem, like I was saying earlier, they're also clearly not part of a solution.
No.
Because there is no solution emerging.
No.
And, also, I brought up Ottawa. You could also compare it to Columbus, the other team involved in this trade. But at least, with Columbus, you can look at it. It's Tortorella. This is nothing new with any team he's on.
No. It's not nothing new, but I think at this point, those guys who are in Columbus expect it. They're like, okay, this is what I'm walking into with the John Tortorella locker room. So they at least have some frame of mind to understand what they're dealing with. I think this is just a complete implosion in Winnipeg.
Yeah. And this is a team that, coming off that 2018 run where they ran into a hot Vegas team and ended up losing, they were starting to look like cup favorites for a minute there.
They didn't just look like cup favorites. I think they were.
Yeah.
That team was ridiculous. Like, the Wild played them that year, and it was just a fucking buzzsaw.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody stopping them until they played Vegas, and then that Vegas team just worked them.
Well, if this doesn't get better, how long do you think Connor Hellebuck stays behind that defense as soon as he hits free agency?
Not much longer. The rest, if not before his contract is up.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be one of the shortest, championship window was wide open for a minute and looked like it would be for a while, and it slammed shut after that one run and just all these issues that keep coming out of there.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been running for a while tonight. Does anybody have any last thoughts for the night?
No, nothing about Dolphins or anything.
Phil, what are we looking at sponsor-wise?
Oh, we have the same sponsor as always.
So just that one.
That's an odd way to throw it to me. Yeah.
You know what? I couldn't think of anything else. I'm sorry, Jake.
Find our sponsors on Facebook at Slapstick Clothing. Or just search Slapstick Clothing. Find them on Instagram at slapstick.clothing. They have slapstickclothing.com. Or if you, for some reason, need to email, you can send an email to Jake at slapstickclothing.com. Cool music, like punk rock themed hockey gear. Awesome dude running a little small business. He actually, me and him are hopefully going to jam together soon. He's printing shirts tonight, so we couldn't do it today. Yeah, good shirts made by a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not good at plugging businesses. Yeah, and a Montreal fan. Yeah, and I don't really think Montreal's that good. I've shit on them too much. I had to say some good things about them tonight to keep our sponsorship. Aside from this, I have a movie podcast with my friend Ken from back in Pittsburgh. It's Exit Music for a Film. Much like our podcast, where you have to search the title with the word podcast, or else you just get Hometown Hockey clips. You have to search Exit Music for a Film podcast, or else you will just get Exit Music for a Film by Radiohead links. So clearly I'm on a bunch of very well-named podcasts. But yeah, check us out there.
Obviously.
We just did an episode for each of our top 5 anticipated films of 2021. And yeah, sometimes we do things like that. Sometimes we have a new movie that we talk about. We have, since before I was hosting, been talking about an episode where I would be a guest before I was the host to talk about the 1989 Batman movie. That was supposed to be recorded in 2019 for the 30-year anniversary, and it hasn't happened yet. But one of these days, we're going to have an episode about Tim Burton's Batman.
It's funny, because didn't me and you literally just spend like an hour and a half on the phone talking about
It's a great movie,
Batman
dude.
the other day?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Uh,
Colt, maybe you can finally watch it and be a guest.
maybe that's how we finally get that one going.
There we go. We need Colt. He's the driving force.
Wait, the Tim Burton, was that George Clooney?
No, it was the beginning of that series. Tim Burton directed the first 2, and then Shoemaker came in and made the second 2, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Burton.
Isn't it Keaton in that one?
Keaton in the first 2, Val Kilmer in the third, and Clooney in the fourth. Because Clooney showed up just in time for the bat nipples.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, the bat nipples.
Let's not start a whole new Batman thing, or this episode is going to run another hour. We're long enough without getting me talking about Batman. Trent, send us out.
Right.
Yeah, send us out of here, Trent.
My name is Trenton Fuller, and I approve of this message.